Join our incredible moms who have mastered the art of balancing motherhood in today's episode of We Time Convo.
My name is Debbie.
This is Liza.
Moms sharing inspiring stories, practical tips, and a few hilarious anecdotes. And it all begins now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for We Time Convo. It is me, Debbie, and we have
Liza.
And of course, Irene.
I saw you and I was like, I have not seen this girl, you, Debbie, in so long. I just feel like I missed you. Yeah. And we've had a lot of like guests come on to co-host and I should turn off my phone.
Me too.
But I should say I listened to that episode last week with Donna. Oh my gosh, I just love her voice and just her energy and her personality. So we need to get her on more. And she's funny.
She loved being on the podcast. Yeah. She loved being invited. She loved the whole experience. I'm pretty sure she would not mind coming back in.
So hopefully for next year, we'll get her in more. Yeah, for sure. But
I will.
I just realized I haven't really had a chance to spend a lot of time with her. And I've, of course, have met Donna before, but it would be great to have her back in. So Donna, you did great.
Oh, and, she will like that.
So this episode is actually going to be kind of like a recap of 2023. We'll just talk about all things past episodes, just pop culture, things that,
Well, 2023 for me on a personal note has been quite a change. For me, I got married very early on. Can you guys believe I'm coming up to my 1 year?
Did you get married this year? No, last year.
I got married this year in January. And it's coming up my 1 year anniversary with my hub. So we both can't believe it that it happened so fast.
So how do you feel like your first year being married, has been?
It has been wonderful. It's definitely been, I don't want to say challenge, but it was, I think, a challenge for both of us because while we obviously love each other, I don't know if you've ever heard this expression, love is not enough. It's other things that need to carry you through a relationship. And so we have learned to communicate a little bit better. I think we can continue to learn to communicate better, but we've gone through so many changes, I think in the last, in this year that like for me, for example, I experienced getting laid off. We did a lot of traveling. We are obviously co-parenting, learning our new family. So a lot of changes. Yeah. A lot of changes.
Going back to the co-parenting, kind of like an update, how is it like being a stepmom?
Well, for me, it is, and it's interesting because I was just recently talking about it. It is tough because it's rewarding because you have a new set of kids. Like I have Javian and Mia, and I have been very lucky. They're very well behaved. They are younger than my daughter. So I've kind of gone through that phase, but knowing that, they're very well behaved, it's been super helpful. But knowing that there's still more phases to come is also something that I'm helping my husband understand that things can change. And so that's a journey that he's going to have to go through.
And how's your relationship with Peter's ex-wife?
Our relationship is cordial. We are very respectful of one another and the position that we have within obviously our relationship to, Peter, their kids. So from that perspective, I don't hang out with her, but based on how she raises the two, I have nothing but respect for her because I know how it is to be a single mom, and for her to be able to do it with two, much props to her.
Nice.
So, yeah. But yeah,
Happy
year 23,
yeah.
I know. Year 23 has been a lot of changes for me. How about you?
Well, for me, where do I begin? So I was just actually talking to Irene about this. So, I put myself out there in the dating world.
Yes.
This year, a lot of it was just trying to find myself and see where I fit in dating. So I am actually back in the single pool, which is great. I'm happily back in the single pool. I'm back to eating chicken and having a beer in my underwear in bed. I know that the last episode the dating episode, which was in October. So I don't know if a lot of you guys are aware of this, but not all of our episodes are recorded, in that time. We kind of just switch episodes depending on, when our editor can get it ready. So we did the recording, I think the beginning of October. And at the time I was dating somebody exclusively. Mm-hmm. And, I'm just realizing when you're dating this late in the game, just because you have a connection with someone doesn't mean that this is going to be your person. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole idea of dating, is kind of just figuring each other out and seeing if this is something that is going to work in the long term. And when you're dating in this age, you value your time so much, yes. And it kind of just makes you think like, okay, am I putting my time and my effort into something that's going to be something later? Or should I just put this time and effort back into myself? I don't know. So, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. Again, great guy. He is phenomenal. He's so smart. I've learned so much from him. I had so much fun with him. Uh-huh. We just weren't compatible, I think, emotionally. Yeah. And I think one of the things is, and I don't know if he listens to this podcast, but whatever. I've actually, okay, do you guys want to hear the backstory on this guy?
Yes,
okay.
yes, of course.
So I actually been kind of seeing this guy since March.
Okay.
And it was like very casual, just very kind of like, oh, whatever. And then we just, we took breaks in between because we're just kind of like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what I want, kind of thing. And I'm just starting to notice that, he's 46 years old, right? And you think that you meet someone this age that they're going to know what they want. This guy does not. He didn't know what he wanted in life. And I think recently we went out to, and this whole breakup thing just happened recently. So just recently we went out to go pick out a Christmas tree, right? Uh-huh. And it took
very recent.
Yeah, it took him so long to pick out a Christmas tree. I'm like, that's nice, let's pick it. And he's just kind of like comparing them, like, oh, I don't know. What do you think about this? And then finally, I don't know how long it took. It took too long. He picked a tree. Okay, let's go to Target and get
Was it his tree or your tree?
His tree for his house.
Okay.
And then he's like, okay, let's get ornaments. Oh, that was even worse. Mm-hmm. And then he was supposed to get like a new car. Mm-hmm. He was thinking of getting a new car in May. Mm-hmm. It's December.
Oh, he should hit up Peter. They have some really good stuff.
And then like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have this, we're at his house and I have this conversation and I'm like, I'm not trying to rush you, but I kind of just want to know where this is heading.
Sure.
Right? Like, I just kind of want to know. I'm not pushing you. We don't have to be like, hey, we're serious like tomorrow, today, whatever. Sure. I like how things are now, but I just kind of want to know. And he's just kind of like, oh, I don't know. And we kind of left it open-ended, but driving home thinking like if you don't know, no, seriously, if it takes you this long to figure out what you want, something as small as a Christmas tree, you're sure as hell not going to want to know what you want in something big like a relationship. Mm-hmm. So, I just kind of just let him know like, hey, I don't know. You just don't know what you want, but I know what I want.
Yeah, and you don't want to waste time, right?
Yeah. But I still want him in my life. I think we can become really good friends later on, after I just kind of find myself. But, I just finally was just, my apps are still deleted. I have no intention of going back in there in the dating world, online dating anytime soon. I just kind of made the decision to whatever emotional effort, whatever time, whatever money I was putting into this relationship, I'm just going to put back into myself.
Mm-hmm. I think that is wonderful. Yeah. So I will tell you, I got married, but before that, I really enjoyed being single. And a lot of people didn't really understand or believe me, but it was really good. I got to really focus on my career, on my daughter. I was very clear on what I liked, what I didn't like. And it doesn't necessarily mean, like, at least for me, if you're going to pick somebody to be in a relationship with, love is not going to carry you through. There's going to definitely be a level of effort that each one of you have to have. So you absolutely need to pick the right person who's willing to put in the effort, right? Yeah. And be at least in that same page of that same goal of wanting to be together, each other. So I'm glad that you're you realize that and that you're going to put it back to you.
Yes.
And then if you do meet somebody who like meets those criteria that you're looking for, then you guys can put in that effort together.
Yeah. And again, like no shade on him whatsoever. Like I said, no regrets. We had so much fun. And I've learned so much from this relationship. I learned so much about how men think and just how guys are. And yeah, but I mean, just because I'm not actively looking right now doesn't mean that I'm not open to relationships. So, I mean, hey, if we have any single listeners out there.
Taller than 5'10".
Yeah, not to be specific, but I mean, between the ages of 35 and 50, 5'10" and up. I don't like chest hair. I don't like muscles. Preferably within 30 minutes of San Jose. Again, not to be specific.
Yeah, that's a still wide pool.
Out there, yeah.
That's a wide pool.
But you know, and again, I just gonna focus on myself, and my plans for 2024 is just a lot of solo things. Me, myself, and I. Like, I actually planned a solo trip in March for my birthday. So I'm going to take a train up to Santa Barbara, and then I rented
You mean down?
Down to Santa Barbara. And I rented a hotel on the beach, and it's just going to be me. It's a little scary. But and then we talked about me flying for the first time this year. That was one of like the big things.
Oh my God.
So a lot of things I'm going to do by myself, and I'm so excited about it. So I mean, I would love to travel internationally, but of course, I'm just too broke for that. So if any, listeners out there, if you want to fund my Eat, Pray, Love
I have a
kind of
plan
situation.
for us
Yeah.
next year. Let's see. I'm going to put it out there later.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want my Venmo handle, I'm taking donations. But yeah, so any, single men out there, just slide into the We Time Convo DMs. I don't know. Hit me up.
There you
We'll never
go.
know.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So it's a lot of changes for you.
Yes.
A lot of changes for me this past year.
Yes.
I just
Oh,
honestly.
is Vanessa driving? Going back to our driving episode. How's that
So
going?
she is driving. She still has not gotten her driver's license, but I'm hoping that she'll get it before the year ends. So crossing my fingers. So every day, like we are now practicing more often on a daily basis. Typically, I have 20 minutes of anxiety every morning because she drives herself to school. It takes about 20 minutes, and I'm going to tell you, it's like the worst.
With you in the car.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like the worst 20 minutes of full anxiety for me but that's the thing. It's like she needs to learn how to drive and she needs to practice.
Debbie, you should take different routes every day. She can't be taking the same route over and over.
Has she got on the
right?
freeway yet?
She does. She goes on the freeway.
Did you die? Like,
No,
I would
she
have had a
goes-
heart attack.
She goes on the freeway. She goes on 87. She goes on 680. She's gone on 101. I mean, it's like she goes on the freeway, but we don't go into the fastest lane. The furthest she's gone is to like lane 2. But I mean, she does it. She's gone on 880. Like I said, it's 20 minutes of full on anxiety.
My butt is clenching for you right now because I'm just kind of like, oh my God.
I actually see kind of like, I look at it as if she could just Uber or somebody drive her like that, I'm much more happy. It's anxiety, but I know she has to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I guess we should talk about like just things in general in 2023. Have you seen any good movies, any shows or anything like that this year that really like stuck with you?
actually, I recently have been trying to find stuff on Netflix. Netflix used to be like my haven of like entertainment. I don't know about you, but if you've gone to Netflix recently, I cannot find anything that entertains
Can
me.
I suggest a show? And maybe you've seen this before, but it's an old show. I think it came out 2016, ended 2021, but Insecure with Issa Rae.
Yes, I have.
Just recently watched it and I love that show. And I think I watched it at a good time because she goes through a lot of like,
Yes.
like she's single at one point. She goes through a breakup. So I kind of like just,
I've watched the whole series.
I've
watched the whole series. Yes.
She's hilarious. I love Issa Rae.
Yes.
Like I want friends like hers.
Very entertaining.
Yes. And I kind of just went through it with her because I was at that phase of my life when I watched it. I was going through everything that she was
It's
going
very
through.
relatable.
Yes. Such a good series. Watch it. But another thing that was really good, I think I want to call it a mini series or movie, is Beef. Did you watch that
Yes,
with
I
Ali
did.
Wong? Yes.
Ali
Ali
Wong.
Wong and Stephen Yoon.
Yes.
What did you think about that?
I loved it.
So good.
I can't wait for the next season.
So good. The acting is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, I guess it starts with a road rage incident.
Yes,
and then it
does.
kind of spirals. But then you realize like how broken these two main characters are and just their lives,
And
right?
it is hilarious.
Yeah. It's hilarious, but it's also, I don't know, I just felt the acting and I just felt how broken and how up these characters are.
They are.
Yes. They're just like, wow, like, okay, I don't feel bad about my life. But Ali Wong is great. She's actually coming.
Yes,
She's
I
coming
saw.
to the Bay Area.
Yep.
I was trying to look at tickets, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. So she's hilarious.
Yes,
love
she is.
But-
Two, I would definitely back you up on those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about outside movies? Did you see Barbie? I think
No,
Barbie
I
was-
did not, but people have encouraged me to.
Barbie is, especially as a mom, like it's not what I expected it to be. I thought it was just going to be some lame like Barbie Ken movie.
Uh-huh.
But it's really just kind of like women power and
Yes.
just kind of shows you how women are portrayed, like how we're expected to be, how we're expected to act. And you realize like it's still like that.
That's
now,
very interesting.
You know, I think you should watch it with Vanessa. I don't know if Vanessa's seen it,
I don't know.
but it's just such a good movie to watch with your daughter. Just kind of, yeah. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
no, I definitely have heard good things about it, and it's an ode to, like you said, it's not like the typical what you would expect from Barbie, but a lot of the perception that women face is in that movie. So
We're
I've
expected to be beautiful. We're expected to be perfect. Our shit doesn't stink. We don't fart. You know?
Oh, that cracks me up. That cracks me up. Wow. I mean, what else is going on 23?
I don't know. How's football? How's football life for you and Peter?
Oh,
How are the
God.
Niners doing?
The
I don't follow sports.
So I will say, so I'll tell you this. Prior to dating Peter, I've always liked the Niners, but I've never been a Niner fan. Since Peter has been in my life, it is very clear when the season starts because he is very much into football and specifically the Niners. Last year, he was very disappointed in regards to where they ended up, but considering that they had lost their star quarterback and it went to Brock Purdy and him getting hurt, now he's back. The team looks awesome. And by no means am I a football expert, but I can tell you when you think about your partner and what you get from them, I've definitely learned so much football.
I was going to say, so prior to meeting Peter, did you understand football?
Somewhat, somewhat. And I would only watch it like Super Bowl, just who are the two main team playing for the Super Bowl? And that was pretty much it. And if somebody asked me, do you have a favorite team? I'd always say the Niners. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much my knowledge and interest. But with Peter, he loves football. So when we started dating, it was very clear that Sundays were for football.
We had to change our recording sessions and we missed you quite a few times for football, but
Yes. And so based on that, I've been much more I'll actually watch football and the highlights of football because it's his interest and I learned something. So I'm starting to know more about football. There was a hot minute when they were losing 3 in a row. And I can tell you that was such a downer for him.
So, I mean, if the Niners lose, is it kind of just determine the kind of day that you're going to have with Peter? Is he one of those
it does bother him, I will say, and more so when it's actually happening. So there was one instance where Moody had missed a field goal. And so he had another attempt to do a field goal. And I had specifically said, I hope he doesn't f up again. And everybody, especially Peter, was like, why would you put that out in the universe? And I'm like, I was just saying it. And he's like, if he misses, that's your fault. And I'm like,
super.
I know. I'm like, how is me saying it going to affect what he's doing? That makes no sense. And he's like, no, you put it out in the universe. So I have learned to stay positive because I don't want to put any negativity out in the universe. The Niners have been doing wonderful though. So
That's good to know.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we're pretty excited. Tomorrow they have a game. So I'm actually missing it because we have our brunch.
Oh, our tea party
yes.
for Irene. Oh, just so you know, happy belated birthday, Irene.
Thank you.
So speaking of football, I guess one of the things we should talk about that was like a big thing this year was like Taylor Swift dating Travis. Is it Travis
It's
Kelce?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know anything about football. What was the big deal about this?
So the big deal, and this was hilarious. So it came out that she was dating Travis Kelce. Well, it so happened that there was this thing going around where women were going to their husbands and saying, "Oh my God, do you know this guy named Travis Kelce?" And Taylor Swift put him on the map. Well, if your husband's into football, he'd be like, "Are you kidding me?"
he was already a big deal.
He's already a big deal. And what they don't understand is Taylor Swift is a bigger deal. And so there was a ton of people who did not know who's Travis Kelce. If you're not into football, you don't
I
know.
had no
I don't know
idea.
him. I don't know
Yes.
him.
No.
So a lot of men, and I played this joke to Peter as well, is like, "Do you know Travis Kelce?" And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And
What the team is he in?
he's on the Chiefs.
Okay.
Is it Kansas?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
Did I get that right? Because I don't know. Okay. So, I mean, that's a correction for next year. If-
Wait a minute. I gotta look. He's gonna kill me if I get this wrong.
I want to say Kansas City Chiefs. And if I get that right, then wow.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
you are right.
okay.
So yeah, he basically was just like, come on. He is so like, are you
How
kidding
old
me?
is this guy? Is he young? He must be young because Taylor Swift is pretty young.
Oh, that was another thing. So obviously it's this whole hoopla. So I'm like, you know what? Let me look up. I think I saw a documentary of Taylor Swift. Did you know that she's in her 30s?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I did
did
know
not
that. I did know that.
I did
Yeah.
not. When I think of Taylor Swift, I think of her still being
In her
a young
20s.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, in her 20s.
And she still looks, I mean, she looks rocking
great.
it. She looks really good.
Yes. I could not believe it because she just comes off to me as being young.
And she has a lot of younger fan. But I mean,
Fan
she's
base,
with
yeah.
everybody. Like I'm a 42-year-old Swiftie. Like I love Taylor Swift. But yeah, I didn't really like her until this year. She had her tour coming out, and I had a coworker that just absolutely loves Taylor Swift, and she plays her music all the time. And I'm like, wow, this is actually not bad, right? My older daughter loved Taylor Swift, but this was like back in her like country kind of like phase days. And I watched some of her documentaries, and I was like, wow, she's actually really down to earth, and she writes all her music, and she's this cat lady. And
She's very
Yeah.
talented.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from her.
yeah,
But I'm actually looking up Travis Kelce. He is 34 years old.
oh, okay.
And the reason why the football guys are looking at us weird when we bring up Travis Kelce is because he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Oh wow.
He's a 4-time first team All-Pro.
Oh wow.
He is an 8-time Pro Bowl. So this guy,
What does he play?
obviously-
What's his position?
It's a quarterback, right?
No, he's not a quarterback.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
He's a tight end.
What's a tight end?
Okay, you're going way too deep.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
no, it's okay.
Okay,
Don't
that's a whole
explain
new
it.
episode.
No,
Okay, we'll do like a football 101
Okay, yes.
episode. Yeah.
But my whole point is that's why guys were looking at us girls all crazy because they were like, "Are you kidding me? He is like the shit in football." And for you guys to think that Taylor Swift made him famous, and we're like, "Yeah, but he like really blew up with
Yeah,
Taylor
because
Swift."
football is only in America,
America.
and Taylor Swift is worldwide.
yes. So yeah, I mean, but good luck to them.
Yeah, I mean, she's in her 30s. If she wants some babies and stuff, I guess she's getting all her tour stuff out of the way, maybe, but she wants some little baby Kelseys.
I'm
She
sure
should
she can
start.
afford to freeze her eggs.
Oh, yeah, surrogacy.
Yeah.
You can do surrogacy. But yeah, so, and a lot of series that I've been watching this year, going back to this, you know, just I love crap TV. So Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, I watch all of it. Do you guys watch any of that?
No,
No.
I don't watch. that.
But
I like the comedy, the stand-up shows. That's what I just.
What do you watch, Irene?
The stand-up shows. That's all I watch.
Like, who's your favorite comedian?
right now Nate Bargatze, he's really becoming big because his comedy is clean. So no, not you know how comedy is mostly like sex, right? And so it doesn't. I don't think he has that. It's just very ordinary life, but he makes it funny.
Nice. So, what are your favorite highlights of this year, Irene? Is it starting this podcast with us?
Oh, that's right. It just started. Oh my God. It feels like
I think we started
in
July, like summer, right?
We started in July because
you
we did
were
it right after my Asia trip.
Yes, yeah.
I remember. Yes. And I have to say, so I was reading or saw it probably on TikTok. It says you should do something like worthy each year.
Oh,
right.
really?
And like in my head, I'm like, oh, well, I got married. Like list like 3 things that when you go, like 10 years later in the future, and they say, hey, what happened to you in 2023?
You can actually remember.
You can actually remember because it was an event for you, right? So for me, it would be obviously being married and getting married. But it would also be, I started a podcast.
Yeah.
Like I will remember that 10, 15, 20 years from now, that in 2023, that's what I did.
Podcast and
So
your Asia trip too.
Yes, my Asia trip, my Belize trip, my getting married, me getting laid off for the very first time. Like there was like life-changing events that 20 years from now, you give me the 2023 date and what happened to me, and I'll like be able to rattle those things off. I don't know if I could say that for other years. So what I'd like to do moving forward is every year do something that is significant that I will actually remember 10 years. And it doesn't have to be like a lot.
Something huge.
Yeah. Just one thing.
That's
when
great.
they actually say this year, what, like name off a year, what happened to you? And you can at least name off one thing.
We're going to do that episode in maybe 3 episodes from now, right? 2024.
Yes.
What's going to happen in 2024?
Exactly. So,
Nice.
I mean, it's something that I saw on TikTok and I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You know, that because the years go by faster and faster as you get older, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And when Irene approached us about this podcast, I was just kind of like, oh, like casual, like it's going to be fun. We'll check it out. We'll try it. But I have, our listeners, which, a lot of them is like coworkers, friends. And when they text me or when they go up to me and they say like, I really, this episode was great and I really loved it. I just love it. I love that people listen to it. And sometimes I even forget, like, I'll have someone like, oh, like, I liked your dating podcast episode. I was like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, like we have a podcast. It's crazy. And I did look at our stats that you sent us, Irene, and I was like, wow, we have that. People, like many people actually listen to us.
Just yesterday, I had my nieces and my nephew come over for dinner, and my nephew goes, oh, by the way, Auntie, I actually listened to your podcast. Oh, you know why? Because he saw my cup.
Oh,
I was drinking out of my cup. He goes, you actually have a cup? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you have a cup of your podcast? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, hey, I listened to one of your podcasts. And I said, mind you, he is 19, 20 years old. So I'm like, you did? He goes, yeah. He goes, I listened to the co-parenting one. And then I was like, you did? And he goes, yeah. He goes, that one was pretty cool. And I was just like, oh my God, he actually listened. Like, wow. Right? It feels good.
Yeah. I actually had a friend that was like, I was telling all my coworkers about your podcast and they love that episode where you guys just opened the episode with when you're talking about smoking cigarettes.
which episode was that?
I think it was like the 2nd episode. And I was like, yeah, we did talk about like smoking cigarettes.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of, but here's the crazy thing. Like I look back at 2023 and I knew it's a year for me for a lot of changes. I know worldwide there was a lot of things going on, even on the political front. And it's been tough. I don't know about you guys, but I struggle with this is I have a very hard time digesting it all.
I can't. I just don't. I don't know. I look at the news now and it's just sad. You know, and it's I guess I should say that I avoid it and I don't really know what's going on, but it's just depressing.
I'm with you, Liza. For a time, I was like, why am I always feeling sad? Because at that time, now I realize I'm reading the news every day.
Yeah.
And now, I stop. I just, like, when I hear something that's kind of big, okay, I'll read up on it. But now, you're right. I avoid it.
It's hard for me too, because you see it like, for me, I think part of it was just the stem of all the news coming from different directions, and you can't tell what is real and what is not. And I'm in the similar boat where I can't decipher what's real and what's not. Like, is it propaganda? It's all that stuff. So I stay away from it. But it's been a tough year of, you know, and that's the other thing too. There's so many things going outside of our bubble. How does people cope, and how it's hard to continue to live day to day knowing that other people are struggling.
Yeah. It's hard. It's like, I think everyone is avoiding it. And it's like, is that the right thing to do? Should we be avoiding things that are happening outside? Should we help? Like, you just feel really helpless.
Well,
you know?
not on top of that.
Yeah.
Right. It's specifically in the Bay Area. I had an experience when we were in Asia. My father-in-law got robbed. He was waiting in a temple, and it kind of stems from the fact that there is a lot more crime that's being done in our Bay Area that it's just so free. Like, I see it even on the reels that I'm watching, how people are like doing these mob things to stores, breaking it, like going, like, I've talked to so many people who like basically say, I don't want to go into the cities. It's too dangerous. And it's just like, now how do you like, and I think more people are actually like us, where we're kind of avoiding, like, we have to create our own bubble, right, in order to be able to survive in this environment.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's out of control. And I just, I recently went to San Francisco, maybe like last month for, we went to some Filipino festival there with my sister. And I hadn't been for a while, like maybe pre-COVID. And we're driving around and like all these stores are closed down. I mean, there's so many homeless people around. I mean, the whole city just looks like, all of it just looks like the Tenderloin now. And it's just really sad, because I remember San Francisco, being just like this place to go, like to go shopping, to go sightseeing. And it's just really sad to see it that way. Yeah, it's not what San Francisco is not what I remember.
No, yeah. And I it's going to take a while, I think. They said it's lean. Crime is, the penalties for crime are getting more lenient and more rampant. So it's just, I don't know which direction. I actually know more and more people who are actually out to get their own firearm.
Oh, wow.
I would never have considered it, but it's something to think about. Like, I had a conversation with someone who basically said, why wouldn't you? Like, knowing what's going on in the world, why would you not arm yourself? And it actually had me pause, because I was like, oh, I would never want to have a gun in my house. I would never. But what is going on in the world, and how do you protect yourself and your family?
Yeah, that's very true.
And I'm like, ooh, like, oh, and it's now been a discussion where it's like, should we or should we not? Where I never would have thought of that. But if the bad guys have it, why wouldn't you do it to protect yourself? And I'm like, yeah, but if you have a firearm, you should be willing to use it. And he's like, yes, but think about what's going on in the world, and why wouldn't you protect yourself and your family? So it was a real question that now
it's a reality check.
Yeah. It's like I said, a lot of considerations for 2023, but life goes on, right? Yeah. So like, what do you do? But yeah, a lot of things are happening, and I don't think I could absorb as much. I can't. I can only absorb so much.
Yeah.
I keep my sanity.
Yeah. So what are your plans for 2024, Debbie? And what do you hope for yourself and your family?
So for 2024, I'm definitely having a more positive outlook. Definitely from my family perspective, it's going to be a year of change. So 2024, definitely looking forward to it. I mean, there was a lot of changes in 23. I believe 24 will be a lot of changes as well. For me, definitely, I'm excited for the new year and what it has to bring. As I get older, I believe more and more that you have to have a positive outlook in order for, you to continue to seek that happiness and fulfillment, right? The environment's going to change. You can only control what you can control. So I learned to be a positive, looking out, like spending time more with family, continuing to spend more time and working on myself.
Yeah.
Really. Like I want to focus more on myself and what does that look like?
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to take on too much stuff, but then I do want to kind of focus on what are the things that's going to make Debbie better.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
How about you on 24?
I mean, obviously the same, like I said, I want to work a lot on myself, continue therapy, just do a lot of solo dates with myself, spend more time with my kids and work on, being a better co-parent, having a healthy co-parenting relationship with David, which is going great, by the way. Since our last episode, the girls just had a birthday. Violet just turned 5 and Ava just turned 16. And we spent their birthdays together and it was fine. It was fun. It was cordial. So I'm really, really happy for that. And I never believed in spirituality, but I've just been manifesting the best for everybody in my life in the future. And I believe that if you manifest it, like you said, if you really just stay positive, that it's going to happen. It's going to come to you. Yep. I've just been doing a lot of meditating, just kind of clearing my head because my head is just so messy. There's too much going on in my head. So I want to work on that. But I'm just hopeful, and I hope nothing but good and great things for everybody in my life that I love.
Yes.
That's it. I just want everybody to be happy.
I 100% agree with that.
Well, thank you for, how about you, Irene? What do you hope for 2024? We can't forget you.
Maybe just a bigger, wider reach for our podcast.
Maybe a sponsorship.
Yes. And for the kids, maybe better grades.
I think we can all.
For me, a big vacation.
There you go.
Nice. I'll always put that on my list.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Well, thank you again for listening to We Time Convo. Yes. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I forget that we have that, but We Time Convo _podcast. It's at We Time Convo _podcast. And then don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. It helps, and maybe we will finally get sponsored. But yeah, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. See you guys next week.